job for them. You know what I'm saying? Before they used to do it to us.
Put some more light on here.
It's right there on the side. The second one.
Go ahead, Mike.
No. Okay, pull this right here. Let's pull
Sitting here with one of my good friends in the music industry. This is informal talk for all the young people out there. Mike Ramdanny, his daughter. I'm visiting Atlanta, Georgia right now. Spending some time with one of the legends in hip hop. I'm visiting, you know what I'm saying? Mike Ramdanny and his daughter here. So we wanted to put this podcast out. You know, I'll edit some whatever I have to edit out, but they gave me the permission to go ahead and they'll see it before I publish it, okay? And get the right on it. So I'm just wanting to get you guys right in frame and in focus. The basketball game is in the background. I don't want to compete against them. So I'm gonna just ask you to give our audience, right, a brief insight on a little bit about what we've been talking about, okay? Go ahead.
For the most part, we were talking about the state of the music industry today. And basically what the difference of what today's artist exudes versus what past artists have done.
Right.
My stance was there's no such thing as artist development anymore.
Right.
That's gone out the window. I don't even think real A&Rs actually exist. I think people have the title, but as far as what they're supposed to do, it's non-existent. They're just a bunch of suits, and most of the time they have no background in the industry. They've gotten lucky because they might have interned here and there for a few people at the label or other past labels in their come up, probably in high school, whatever. But it was just, that's what you were.
This is
you
rampant
intern.
right now.
Yeah, it's real rampant. And basically you got people who just want to make a quick buck. So they get these titles, they're A&Rs, and then...
Talk about that.
So...
Because there's a lot of misunderstanding that young people are having that they're going to get put on.
Absolutely. And what that is because you, with the click of a button, you can put yourself out there to the masses, which is as easy as social media, which is what I'll say is a blessing and a curse. Because... the blessing part in that is that it does what it's supposed to do. It gets you right in front of the people times 1,000 millions. You got people who are now getting recognized just off of followers. Since when? You know, I know we're in a different time.
We are.
And
so
we're
people
in a
would
different
say
generation.
that if they got followers, that means they must be good.
They must be good. And
what's your argument to that?
I feel like...
And that, because we are in a different time.
I think it's a good thing to an extent. And when I say that, I mean that as in... that should not count for what the overall picture is. Are you selling is what we need to be talking about. I don't care how many people are following you. Are you actually doing your job, which is be... on top of your game as an artist, as an athlete, as an actor. Heck, I just listened to an interview with the young actor Trevor Noah. And he said, you know, he's actually coming out in the movie Superfly, the modern day Superfly. And he said that during his audition, he was asked on the casting table, like, how many followers do you have? What?
Wow.
How many followers do you have during your audition process?
No, what do you think about that process?
I'm appalled. I'm appalled because I still think there should be a straight industry standard and that a bunch of followers does not garner you a star on a Hollywood Walk of Fame. Are you good at what you do is the bottom line. And I know with the new age of streaming, of
talk
music
about the streaming too,
versus buying a CD, we're just in a new age of technology. So I understand that streaming numbers will count, especially if you're purchasing those streams. What doesn't count is if these streams are not being bought and that people are just doing it for free, because of course we know that to be piracy. But at the end of the day, like a person's popularity on whether they get a job in a film or TV show shouldn't count in regard to the followers they have on social media. What does that even mean?
So is the industry forcing that?
They are, absolutely, because they feel like they want to keep up with the times. And I feel like you're hurting it. Because I know a lot of unsung artists, whether they're singers and actors and dancers and choreographers and even voiceover talent, that may not have the views, but they are raw talent and they're excellent. And just because they don't have 10K viewers or followers doesn't mean that they're not good. And I feel like we're getting away from what's talent versus what's popular. Because if it was about that,
I think you stepped on some people here.
It don't matter. At the end of the day, these are facts. Half of these bozos wouldn't be in front of our TV today if it was about talent. Why are we still looking at the Kardashian and the Jenners? Because our silly people who are in charge of advertising and marketing still pay these broads. And people call them culture vultures, or they're stealing our men. They're not stealing anybody that don't want to be took, because they're deemed desirable. And let's not front that some of these brothers, whether they're white or black, that date these Kardashian Jenner girls don't get something out of the deal too, because they get their followers as well. They get their fans as well. So it opens up their market. And when we look at the so-called fallen men who have come from that brew of Kardashian Jenner clan, everybody wants to make the lame jokes about, oh, get out, and, you know, Bruce is now Caitlyn. Kanye is now wearing his hair blonde and popping oxys. And Lamar was a drug addict. All these people already had these issues before they got with them. It's just that now that they're in the public eye, it got magnified. And people like myself, being a viewer, have the ability to torture and torment these people. Because why? I have access to you because you put yourself on social media. And instead of having your publicist or your management control your social media, have your passwords and your usernames, you have direct access to your fans. So what do? Clap back. I say, oh, Kanye, you sure are looking fat. Kanye gonna reply right back to my comment. Well, I may be fat, but I'm woke and I'm rich.
Right.
Okay? Trump for president. Make America great again with my red cap on. You know, it's too much easy access. We don't live in a day and age where our artists and celebrities are not obtainable anymore. It would be hard to get. Yeah, very easy access. And they fall for it. My man Chris Brown, love him to death, but he falls victim to the internet trolls all the time. He falls victim to the internet trolls, and he is always so-called clapping back. When, in fact, if this was back in the early 2000s or the late 90s, then his publicist would have had access to all his social media and would control that. But nobody wants to step in and take control of what their job is supposed to be, which is to control the content.
You talked about earlier, before we got on camera, about the lack of artist development.
Absolutely. There's no such thing anymore. These people, again, have the title of being A&Rs, senior A&Rs, VP of A&Rs, but what exactly are you developing?
You heard that? I want you guys out there doing these shows and these talent searches and to hear that again.
What are you developing besides you popping up at the studio, bothering your artists, talking about this record is too risque, or I don't think this record is going to sell. But what you're saying is, I want you to continue to give us the BS that you've been putting on the radio, because it makes me money, it makes the label money, and it makes you money, versus giving people the freedom to express what they really want to put out. Because I've seen it enough times to know that there are a lot of artists who conflict with their label heads, and they'll say, oh, I want to go in another direction. But then you got some A&R, once again, who does not more than likely have a background in the industry, to tell them, no, you need to do what's popular. Why?
Do what's popular.
Do what's popular.
Do what's popular. Hey, listen. I want to thank you. I'm gonna let everybody know that we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Giving us some insight, and this will go out to the Paul Robeson Freedom School, which I run, and to the rest of the people who will pick it up when we edit it.
I hope nobody gets offended, but this is the day and age that we live in, and I am 34 years old, but I told Radio Rod, I am an old soul.
Yeah, you sure are, because you are knocking your generation's love of
idiocracy.
Well, yeah, idiotic. I don't want to get into it too much here. And your father's just chilling over here. Mike, did you want to say anything before we close?
Well, the thing is
properly, you should take over. You're a 34-year-old, and your generation needs to be addressed. Because I meet young. This is very important from people who are in the industry and you're listening today to this. It's very important that you hear this because you're not going to hear it, anywhere else like you hear it here from industry people. There may be some other stuff out there, but I'm making sure I get this. People know this.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Well, I think there's a concerted effort to kill our music. And
that's deep.
The fact that
hold on, stop.